Ready to finish our Sudoku game? Well, stay tuned, because in this episode we'll be putting in the finishing touches that will complete this project. Hello everyone, my name is Mike and you're watching Polymath Unlimited. In this series we are learning the C++ programming language by building our own Sudoku game. In the last episode, we learned how to procedurally generate a random Sudoku puzzle for the player to solve. This will be the final episode of the series, and we will be putting some finishing touches on the project that will help it feel much more like a polished application. Specifically, we will be adding a main menu to the game, and we will also be adding some undo and redo functionality. Before we do any of this, though, there's actually a very serious bug in the code we wrote in the last episode. If we run the program, notice what happens if we generate a new hard board. The board generates fine, but if we try to solve it, we will see that it has no valid solutions. This is obviously a big problem. It took me a while to figure out why this was happening, though it turned out there was actually a very simple way to fix this bug. If we go to the generate function we wrote in the last video, notice that the very first thing we do is check to see if the board has multiple solutions by calling multisolve on it. It turns out that this is problematic because multisolve actually modifies the board state passed to it. So after multisolve is called, the board state is no longer the same, so it gets corrupted, and we are no longer guaranteed to have a valid solution anymore after the generate function finishes. The solution I came up with was simply to copy the board array into a temporary array before calling multisolve, and to call multisolve on this temporary array instead. This prevents our board state from getting corrupted and preserves the intention of the logic we wrote into our function. If we run the program now, we can see that the problem has been solved. Now we can move on to programming our game's menu. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to include a menu in this application. However, a viewer suggested that it would be a good idea, and I agree. So we'll go ahead and build one in this episode. We'll try to do it in such a way that we don't have to modify our entire codebase to do so. To do this, we'll add a new function called menu to our program. This function will display a menu to the user and then prompt them for input. After getting user input, the menu will return a string that the game loop will then process as a command. We'll flesh out this menu function shortly. For now, though, let's figure out how to integrate this menu command into our game loop without fundamentally changing how our code works. Recall that in our game loop, after drawing the Sudoku board on the screen, we prompt the user for input. The easiest way I found to incorporate our menu into our game was to let our program decide whether it wanted to take its command from the user directly or from the menu function. We'll add a Boolean variable to our main function called menuCommand, and initialize this variable to true. Then, in the game loop, after we clear the screen, if menuCommand is true, then we simply set the command string equal to the value returned by a menu function call, and then set menuCommand to false. Otherwise, we want to do the same thing we have otherwise done normally, and draw the board and get input from the user in our console interface. This very simple change will allow our program to behave exactly like it did before, but when the program launches, it will instead display our menu and let the user interact with it, instead of immediately going to the Sudoku interface. Let's also add a menu command to our game loop so that if the user wants to access the menu again during the game, they can do so. This command will simply set the menu command variable to true again, which will make it so the menu is used on the next game loop iteration. Before we continue, let's package our screen clearing code into its own separate function. We'll call this function clear, and it will issue the appropriate system command to clear the console output, depending on whether we are running on a Windows or Unix system. Packaging the code this way wasn't really necessary before, since we only clear the screen in one place in the code. However, we'll see shortly that we'll be clearing the screen in a few more places in our menu function, so doing this will make our code much cleaner. With that out of the way, let's flesh out our menu function. The first thing we want our menu function to do is clear the console, so we'll call our clear function. Then, we'll output a set of menu options for the user to choose from and prompt them for input. We'll have 7 menu options: Continue Game, New Game, Save Game, Load Game, Delete Save, Help, and Exit. We'll worry about the specifics of executing those options in a moment. For now, we'll simply get input from the user and store that input in a string that we'll call selection. Now we need to determine which option the user selected and return the appropriate command to execute that option in the game loop. The first option is easy. Continue game will simply return the user to the Sudoku interface and let them continue where they left off. So if the user either gave 1 or continue game as input, then we'll return an empty string. Let's also implement the exit option by returning exit if the user typed either 7 or exit. We also need to handle the case where the user didn't type anything matching any of our options. In that case, we'll simply recursively call the menu function again. This will cause our menu to loop until valid input is given. Now that we have our basic menu framework in place, we can test it by running our program. We should see that our program launches into our main menu instead of immediately going into the Sudoku interface. Most of the menu options aren't working yet, but continue and exit should be. So we'll select continue, and we're then presented with our Sudoku interface exactly like it was before we added our menu. We can make moves on the board, generate new boards, load and save games, etc. exactly like we did before. We can also go back to our main menu by entering the menu command. If we type exit while in the menu, the program should immediately exit. Now let's go back to our menu function and implement the remaining options. If the user gave either to or new game as menu input, then we want to generate a new game for the user to play. We'll go into an infinite while loop where we clear the screen, present some options to the player, and then ask them for input. Depending on what input we receive, we will return the appropriate command string to generate a new game for them. If they type 0 or back, then we will take them back to the main menu by recursively calling the menu function again. If we test this out, we can see that this menu option works perfectly. Next, we'll implement the save, load, and delete options. These menu options will behave similarly to the new game option. If the user selects any of these options, we will open separate menus by going into infinite while loops, presenting new options and prompting the user for input. In this case, the options we want to display are all saved games in the file directory. If the user enters 0 or back, then we will take them back to the main menu. Once we have the user's input, we'll perform some additional checks to see if they entered a number instead of a file name. If they did, then we'll replace the input with the appropriate file name from the file directory, as long as the number is not outside the file directory's range. Once we have the file name, we'll return either the save, load, or delete command with the file name attached. Note that in the load and delete options, we also need to check to see if the file name the user provided is actually in the file directory, since loading or deleting a file that doesn't exist might lead to undefined behavior. With these menu options in place, let's test our code again. We should be able to interact with our file directory through the menu. I actually quite like this interface since it's much more intuitive than managing our files through the console interface. There is one refinement I'll add here though. When the user saves or deletes a game, I think it would be better to go back to the main menu instead of immediately going back to the Sudoku interface. So in the game loop, when the command is obtained from the menu, we'll check to see if the menu gave a save or delete command. If it did, then we'll keep the menu command variable set to true in order to keep the player in the menu. This isn't really necessary, but I think I like this behavior better than simply returning to the game anytime any menu option is chosen. It just seems much less jarring and more seamless to me like this. You can decide how you want to structure your version of it though, there's really no right or wrong answer here. Now, the last thing we need to do to finish our menu is implement the help option. This will display a message to the user explaining the rules of Sudoku and how to operate the game's interface. After displaying this message, the user can go back to the menu again, as with the other options. With the addition of a main menu, our program is starting to feel like a real application. There's one final touch I want to add though. I would like to make it so that the player can easily undo and redo moves they have made. In order to do this easily, let's create a global array of board states called board stack. We'll also need to keep track of the stack index and the max index. This board stack will store all of the previous board states so that we can go back to them. We'll also make a new function called push that takes a board state and pushes it onto the top of the stack. Now in our main function, after loading from the autosave file, we will push the board onto the stack. Anytime we modify the board in any way, we will also push the board onto the stack. This will happen in our set command, in our load command, in our solve command, and in our new command. Note that for the load and new commands, we also need to reset the stack by setting the stack index to 0, because we are dealing with a completely new game, so none of the previous states stored in the stack will be valid anymore. Now we will add 2 new commands, undo and redo. These commands will increment or decrement the stack pointer and restore the board state using the appropriate entry from the board stack. Note that if stack index is less than 1, we don't want to undo since there are no more board states to retrieve data from. Similarly, if the stack index is not less than the max index, then we don't want to redo since that means we are already at the most recently modified board state. If we test this by running our program, we can see that we can indeed undo and redo moves. We can even undo after running the solve command, letting us restore the board from before we had the program solve it. Well, it's official, folks. We have a fully working Sudoku program. I have to say I'm really happy with how this project turned out. Seeing everything we've been building over the past several months actually working is really satisfying. This will be the last episode of the series, so I'll be on to other programming projects soon. Stay tuned so you don't miss what's coming. I have some really cool stuff planned. I also plan to post the full code for this project on my GitHub. I'll link to the GitHub repository where this code is posted down in the description. Have any ideas for how to make this Sudoku game even better? Or maybe have any ideas for future programming projects you would like to see on this channel? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.